In a recent video, I added 50 new characters to Smash, and we're gonna do it again, bringing the total added characters from 50 to 100, more than doubling the current roster. So we once again had this beautiful photoshopped character select made by yours truly, and once again, we're gonna be unveiling characters one by one. And we're gonna start off pretty strong, I think, with Captain Toad. Now, Captain Toad was easily the one mentioned the most in comments in my last video, so I figured why not just throw him in there. It's either that or like a regular Toad, but I feel like Captain Toad has more personality, so there you go. Next up, we have Comic. I know Comic is like a Mario character, but I feel like he's tied closely enough to Yoshi to where you could make this like a Yoshi villain character instead of just like a Mario normal enemy character like Piranha Plant, you know? There's also already a mod for Kamek in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, so the moveset is definitely possible. We're gonna have some Mario and Luigi representation with Fawful. Now, Fawful is one of the rare reoccurring characters in Mario and Luigi, so I figured if we're gonna pull a character from that series, we might as well pick Fawful, and he also has the most source material to pull from out of most of the characters in Mario and Luigi, so there you go. Next up, we're completing the Donkey Kong core of characters with Cranky Kong. Now, in my previous video, I added Dixie and Funky, who I do think are more important to add before Cranky Kong. But since we are going to be adding a total of 100 new characters, we might as well throw Cranky Kong in there as well. And after that, we're continuing adding more villains with Vati. Now, Vati is like the second most used villain in The Legend of Zelda, with the number one obviously being Ganondorf. I think his moveset would mostly be based around doing magic and stuff, kind of like Robin. And I think his final smash would be him entering his like final form and just doing that, kind of like Ganondorf does, you know? Up next, we have Ravenbeak. Now, I feel like the pool of characters you can pull from Metroid is kind of limited, but Ravenbeak did have a very strong appearance in Metroid Dread. I don't think we'll be seeing him in Metroid Prime 4, but if we do, that would just strengthen his chances of getting in. So here he is. Next up, I got a lot of comments from Kirby fans. Marks! Now, again, I don't play Kirby. I have no idea what his moveset would be, but apparently he's pretty popular, so there you go. Now, I did have a few people clamoring for Ninten as well. I did include him in my Echo Fighters video as an Echo for Ness. But since we already have Ness and Lucas, we might as well complete the trio with Ninten. And you know we can't have a new Smash Bros. Roster without more Fire Emblem. So here you go. Lyn is finally escaping the assist trophy and joining the fight. Now, I imagine her movements would kind of be more like Sheik's than the other Fire Emblem characters, but she would probably be like a swift and nimble sword fighter, you know? And next up, we got a new Wario rep with Ashley. Ashley is by far the most popular character to come out of WarioWare, which is also why she's an assist trophy at this point. So we're gonna pull her out of the assist trophy and put her right in the character roster. Next up, I still want more villains, so we're gonna go ahead and add Hades. Not from Hades, but from Kid Icarus. Now, I kinda imagine him being like a Ganon-esque character, but I'm not too familiar with the source material, so I might be wrong on that one. Next up, we have a little bit more Animal Crossing with KK Slider. I feel like once you add Tom Nook, KK Slider is next in line, and with that, you have every character you could possibly want from Animal Crossing, honestly. So KK Slider is where I'm putting a stop to Animal Crossing infiltrating Smash Brothers. What I'm not putting a stop to, however, is Xenoblade, and we're adding Rex. He kind of got snobbed off his like spot in Ultimate by Pyra Mythra just being a more interesting character. But since we are adding a total of 100 characters, just throw him in. And while we're at it, we're also gonna add Numa. Just make her be like an in-between kind of thing for Pyra Mythra, you know? And we're also gonna go ahead and add Cosmos, who I think like technically is like Xeno representation, but it's Xenogears and not Xenoblade. I don't know, that stuff is confusing to me. Comment below if you can explain it to me, because I do not understand what is going on with those series. Now we're also gonna go ahead and represent a new series in Advance Wars with Sami. Sami is kind of the more popular character out of the Orange Star Trio. I love myself some Advance Wars, so I would love seeing it represented. Even if I don't know how they would make Sami's moveset work, considering you just kind of control units in that game and you don't actually control your character, you know? But it is Nintendo. I figured they can make it work somehow. And we're gonna go ahead and add Cooking Mama. I know Cooking Mama isn't like a highly requested character or anything, but you have to understand, at this point, I'm adding 50 Nintendo characters. I am kinda looking for scraps at this point, and Cooking Mama had some scraps left. She had some leftovers, okay? So she's in. And with that, we're also adding another retro representative with Mach Rider. I don't know how they would make it work. He could just be a joke character that just runs over you. Now, we're also gonna go ahead and add Saki Amamiya from Sin and Punishment. And I know that, like, we are taking a lot of the assist trophies, but, like, at this point, where else do you pull from, you know? As our final Nintendo rep, we have Prince Yuden. Now, I originally had Yuden as a third-party rep, but apparently Nintendo owns Dragalia Lost. I had no idea until doing research for this video. So apparently he would kind of be first-party. From what I understand, I might be wrong actually, but there you have it. Another sword fighter. And because the portion of newcomers that are third party just grows every single iteration of Smash, we're gonna go ahead and switch over to third party already, ending it with 20 new Nintendo characters. And our first third party character is gonna be Amaterasu. I can't think of a better time to add Amaterasu than right now. With Okami 2 being announced, it's the perfect timing. Like, you just gotta add the character right now. A common thing I see throughout Smash newcomers wishlists is that there's always a ton of Capcom characters. So we're not stopping with Capcom anytime soon. And we're gonna go ahead and add Zero. I know Zero isn't like the main character in Mega Man X, but he is by far the most popular. And adding Zero instead of Mega Man X would help separate the two. So I think Zero is the go-to here. And we're also gonna go ahead and add Chun-Li. Now, I kind of felt like I maybe should have picked Chun-Li over Akuma last time. So I feel like this edition kind of remedies that. We're also going to go ahead and add another Resident Evil character with Jill Valentine. Now, when I added Leon Kennedy, it was kind of between Jill Valentine and Leon Kennedy. And I have 30 character slots I need to fill. So if I was like on the fence last time, I'm just going to throw them in this time. Now, if we were to add any other character from Castlevania, it would have to be Alucard. There's a very well done mod for Alucard in Smash Ultimate already. Also, another character that was previously an assist trophy. So if they go with this roster, they're gonna have to find a lot of new assist trophy characters as well. Since we're throwing in a lot of new reps for like already existing third-party franchises in Smash, we're also gonna go ahead and add Raiden, who's the easy second pick for Metal Gear. I also imagine Raiden being like a quick and nimble sword fighter, you know? I know there's already a lot of sword fighters both in Smash and in this list, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. Swords are pretty popular, but we kind of need some indie love, you know? So we're gonna go ahead and add Shantae. For her moveset, she would probably use her hair a lot. I think she's also able to transform, so maybe for like her smash attacks, she could enter different forms and transform on the fly. I'm not sure if that's just one Shantae game or not, but I think it would be a cool visual. We're also gonna go ahead and add Dr. Eggman. We previously added Shadow, and I feel like he doesn't really fill the villain role. Like, he's the anti-hero, you know, but he's not really the main bad guy, which Dr. Eggman is. So we're gonna throw him in there. He would obviously be piloting some kind of mech. I don't expect him to just be running around. That's not the kind of character he is. But we're gonna go ahead and throw in Knuckles at the same time. Now, I know a lot of you are gonna be like, where's Tails? You know, where's Tails? I just feel like Knuckles would be a more interesting character than Tails would be. And we're gonna keep it up with the Sega reps with Beat, representing Jet Set Radio. Now, I imagine Beat always being on the move. Like, even if you throw it like a smash attack, he wouldn't stop moving. He would just keep skating by. So he would kind of be like this light hit and run character. We still have more Sega reps in store. It's Arl Naja? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this is the main character of Puyo Puyo, which is a puzzle game, so I have no idea how you make a moveset around that, but that's not my problem. We're also going to go ahead and include Nahobino from Shin Megami Tensei 5. I would rather throw in a Shin Megami Tensei rep than throw in another Persona rep, which is why my choice is Nahobino. I've also seen the Demi-Fiend be thrown around as a popular choice as well, but since Shin Megami Tensei 5 is on the Switch, I figured why not throw Nahobino in there. We're also gonna go ahead and include fan favorite 2B. Now, 2B already made a guest appearance in Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising. I don't see why she wouldn't be in Smash. I think she'd kind of fit right in, you know, both visually and gameplay-wise. We're also gonna go and add in Tifa. as another Final Fantasy rep. Now, she'd kind of be like a brawler, you know, like throwing a lot of punches, be pretty agile. One of the things I wanted with another additional 50 characters was to include more women. And Tifa is a pretty iconic female character from Final Fantasy. Now, I know all the reps we've gotten from Final Fantasy so far have been Final Fantasy 7. They might as well change the series icon to the Final Fantasy 7 logo. So we're gonna stop them from doing that by adding Black Mage. I feel like Black Mage kind of represent Final Fantasy as a whole, more so than any of the other characters added in the past. We're also gonna go ahead and add Spyro. I added Crash last time. If you let Crash get in there, you kinda have to let Spyro get in there as well, you know? We don't really have like a dragon on all fours. I guess the closest thing you would get is like a Ridley or Charizard, but Spyro moves in a completely different manner. He's fast and agile and small. The other two dragons are huge, so it's just a nice difference. The next one might be a little bit controversial depending on your feelings about the games, but it's Freddy Fazbear, okay? Even in my notes, I have LOL in parentheses behind it, okay? If we're gonna go ahead and add this many characters, I kinda don't see why Freddy Fazbear can't make the cut. All jokes aside, Five Nights at Freddy is a pretty influential game series, and it also serves to represent horror, which is pretty nice, you know? We need more horror representation in Smash. Now, right next to Freddy Fazbear in my notes, I have Sans. Yeah, Sans Undertale. You know, he would probably use his Gastro Blaster, use some bone-themed attacks. There's stuff you can do with him, you know. Now, in my previous list, I added a lot of new fighting games, but one I didn't add was Mortal Kombat. So we're gonna go ahead and add Scorpion. I added Scorpion because I feel like he's the most iconic from Mortal Kombat. I might be wrong, but I feel like I did the right choice here. You can also kind of do the same thing they did with Richter and Simon if Scorpion doesn't have enough to pull from to make a complete moveset, and pull from the other just recolored Scorpions like Sub-Zero. And you would also obviously just make like Sub-Zero and the others alternate skins for him. We're also gonna go ahead and add the Dragonborn. Now, I was a little bit on the fence for this character because Skyrim is the only game he's in, but Skyrim is like a really old game, but it's on like every console and everybody loves it. So, I mean, why not? Next up, we have another Bethesda character with Vault Boy. I easily feel like he's the best choice in order to represent the Fallout series. And I know he's not like playable or anything, but like you can kind of easily just like throw stuff at him from the series and it can work. Next up, we're gonna be adding Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden. I imagine him having just your typical ninja moveset, you know, like he'd be like, and he would like throw shurikens and all that stuff. Next up, we're adding Travis Touchdown from the No More Hero series. I just feel like it makes sense for him to be in Smash. Maybe it doesn't make sense for Smash to include him, but it makes sense for him to be in Smash, if you understand what I'm saying at all. Next up, we have another character I got a lot of comments asking me why I didn't include. It's Shovel Knight. The reason I didn't include Shovel Knight is because after Smash 4, I felt like a lot of the hype for adding Shovel Knight to the game kind of died down. But again, we're adding 100 characters. I see no harm in including him at this point. And keeping the indie train going, we're going to be adding Hornet. Now, this, of course, assumes that Silksong will be released before the next Smash game releases. And with every day that passes, that seems less and less likely. So we'll see. We'll see. Next up, we're also going to be adding Lara Croft. Now, if we want to represent female characters in gaming, we have to add Lara Croft. Tomb Raider might not be as popular as it once was, but it definitely has had a major impact on gaming as a whole. Now, I'm a little unsure about this one, honestly. I added Claptrap. Originally, I had Psycho, but I feel like Psycho is a lot more generic, has a lot less personality. So I kind of ended up going with Claptrap instead because he has more personality. He also represents Borderlands as a whole, just like the Psycho does. And I feel like you can have more creativity when making a moveset for Claptrap than for the Psycho. I'm pretty sure this next character is gonna be absolute hell to play against. It's Reimu from Toho, which of course is a bullet hell, which isn't a series really represented in Smash, which I think makes Reimu's case a little stronger than it would be otherwise. Next up, we're gonna be adding Jibanyan. I think that's how you pronounce it, from Yokai Watch. Now, I have absolutely no clue what you do in those games, but he's there. But he is the series mascot, so if you're gonna include something from those games, it's gonna have to be Jibanyan. And to round off our list, we have Astrobot. recent winner of Game of the Year. Visually, it fits right in. Astrobot obviously drew a lot of inspiration from Mario and other 3D platformers. So having Mario as the first character and Astrobot as the last is pretty poetic. And there you have it. And that's my list. If you feel like I missed a character, make sure to watch the other video before you flame me, okay?